man was very grateful for those tiny squirts. Hey everybody, welcome back to the month of Independence. Today on the agenda is Bastion. There are only two things that I know about this game for sure. One is that the world builds itself around you. The second is that there's one of the best narrators in gaming. And I am not exaggerating. You're about to see what I mean real soon, little man. Normal mode, no sweat mode. Unlimited chances to carry on undefeated for less experienced players of all ages. I'm just gonna go with normal mode. There's no hard mode, so I can't flex on that. Or attempt to.
Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky.
Little man needs to get on with this adventure.
He gets up, sets off for the Bastion, where everyone agreed to go in case of trouble.
Indeed. Anywho, I was going to say more like try to flex and then fail miserably, because that's what I tend to do.
Ground forms up under his feet as it pointing away. He don't stop to wonder why.
Ain't got
Finds
no time
his
for that.
lifelong friend just lying in the road.
Nobody's got time to question why.
Well, it's a touching reunion.
It is a touching reunion, isn't it? Ah, yes. I'm about to say. I knew it wouldn't break. That'd just be stupid. He'd just
He
put it
sees
away.
what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. In the calamity.
I'm floating. Everyone floats here.
And then he falls to his death. I'm just fooling.
Of course you're just fooling. I was about to say. What kind of way would that be to end? I just figured there would either be a barrier or I would somehow float like I did just earlier. I don't know what I thought would happen.
No, ma'am. It's a gas fella, forced out from underground. Kid pops him good. Fella got a piece of him, though.
Yeah, seems like it. Ah, okay. Luckily not much of a piece of him. Only a little bit. Okay, then. I don't know what I thought that circle would be.
An old repeater falls out of the sky. Ain't a gift from the gods, but it'll have to do. Gotta
It's a
hold it
gun.
still to spin up the chamber.
It's got a bit of a gun to it. Yeah, I'm not wasting bullets. Unless it has infinite ammo.
Kid's worked up quite a thirst by now, so that fountain looks real inviting. Sometimes you just need a drink.
Yeah. Health tonics refilled, man.
A school of squirts tunnels up around him. Must have fled here from the mines.
Gotta aim for this. Seems fascinating. Real fascinating. Well, this was described as an action RPG. Luckily, I've got health tonics for days. And having access to the fountain gives little man all the tonics he could possibly want.
Kid finds a memento from a girl he knew. Always used to fancy her.
But
It's
he
a
hadn't
wonder the old saloon's still standing. Used to have the nicest view.
Yeah, given that everything is popping out of the ether, I would be surprised that anything's standing too.
He sets foot inside one of Celandia's famous watering holes. Inside's old Rondi, the bartender. The calamity got him before his drinking did.
Really? Okay. Can I talk to this guy? Or no? Is he the enemy?
Then Kid finds his trusty shield.
I see. That ought to come in handy.
But just as he's getting a handle on it, the security takes him for a petty thief.
Of course. Evidently he's a thief because he wanted to get his back. He wanted to get stuff
Special
that he
delivery.
owns.
Gas fellas.
These guys need to be taught a lesson.
Windbags start turning up for last call.
It's the last call for their life. Too bad for them, huh?
More squirts start coming out of the woodwork.
That makes sense.
A big old fella pops out in front of the kid.
Oh, jeez. Okay, gotta do this quick. Real quick like. Little man's gonna have to do this a little bit better.
He sees the way to the Bastion out the window. It's a bit of a drop.
Oh, oh yes, I see the window. Yes, definitely. Yes. It looks like a gap to most people that I see.
He gets a good look at things on his way down. He lands on top of a breaker's bow, and it ain't broke.
The Wharf District. Hold that to shoot. Huh. I guess little man found an even better projectile weapon.
Spies a good perch for some target practice. He knows he should draw the string all the way back.
Yeah, he probably should. But sometimes things just don't work out like that. Excellent. Of course, fountains always help.
The kid pockets a memento from a breaker, once the fastest man in the lab.
Evidently not anymore. Unless he went somewhere.
Good news is the emergency defenses still work. Bad news is they're aiming for the kid.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. If they still work, but they're aiming for me, it sounds like bad news, but then again... I guess who am I to question things? Yeah, give it. Perhaps little man needs to learn how to use the shield more effectively. Little man ain't so good. And in this case, little man is the one controlling the little man. Whirlwind.
Picks up a few pointers from a dusty old tome. He's a mighty fast learner.
Yeah. But little man's probably about to find out the hard way that he needs a certain something to actually unleash this, doesn't he? It would seem little man's progress was disrupted by a power outage.
He finds the distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town.
Yeah, unfortunately, the power went out, so... yeah, the recording was disrupted just a bit. And this is why I am grateful that I record in a certain format. I think it's MKV. Because that way it is very much recoverable if anything happens to the recording. You know, like say my computer crashes through the game, well, OBS crashes. If the game crashes, it doesn't matter as much, but if OBS, the computer crashes, or in this case there's a power outage, I can just recover the recording and start from there. Still a pain in the ass, but you know, not nearly as much as it would be if the recording...
One sip of the spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man.
Not nearly as much as it would be had I not been able to do that. Active only when at full health, plus 10% critical hit chance. Absorb stray fragments. Squirt cider, plus 10 max health. I think I'm gonna go with that. I need self-preservation above all else. At least I think. It's always good, you know?
The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job.
Yeah. Fang repeater. Rapid-fire ranged weapon. Cannot move while firing. Reloads automatically. Ammunition chamber, fashioned from an unlucky beast. Gives a distinct silhouette to these silent repeating rifles once favored by Ura hunters. I think I'm gonna stick with the Breaker's Bow, because the Breaker's Bow has power going for it, you know? And obviously the hammer, you gotta have a hammer. Gotta have a fallback weapon. Dancing shot. A secret breaker technique that caused an arrow to bounce from target to target, originally intended to use only for spectacle, but it proved to have practical purposes. Interesting. I have not unlocked... oh, okay. Spiral bolts that deals damage every direction. Trampers would rely on this technique in the event they got surrounded. That's for the repeater, of course. That's why I can't use it. I have it, I just can't use it because I'm not using the repeater. But it's fine. I don't need the repeater. I'm not a repeat offender after all.
Some of them squirts birthing like crazy in a couple of corn bins.
Yeah. What he said. Give me some of that old black tonic, man. Oh, I see. Dispensaries, are we? How about a little man try to shoot with his bow true? Yeah, whatever works for you, little man. Let's just get rid of everything. Everything that could potentially be a threat, at least.
An old
Switch.
ferry barge sends the kid on his way.
Oh, boy.
The Bastion's real close now.
Little man hopes so. Oh, I see. Uh-oh. Perhaps little man has underestimated his target just slightly. Uh-oh. Oh, jeez. Little man has definitely underestimated things. And needs to take things one at a time. Perhaps little man needs to make better use of his powers and evasion skill. The little man is not so much a fan of using because of reasons. Something heavy.
Takes a chunk of alloy. The smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scum.
Oh, jeez.
Kid
Like literally?
maybe shouldn't have done what he just did.
Perhaps no, he should have done it. Hot damn. Little man is in quite a pickle here indeed. Especially when he's not even sure if OBS is still functioning properly. And gets paranoid about things like that. Oh boy. Is the hammer doing that, or is that doing it on its own? Little man has so many questions and not enough answers. Although clearly, there's some things that aren't so easy to answer. Suddenly things become clear.
Kid better watch his step.
Damn it. Yeah, or he might be beating the ages a little too soon. Oh, of course. Little man should have probably been paying attention, but when there's one thing, there's another. And the arena is only getting more dilapidated over time. Only a shame little man can't use the enemy attacks to his advantage because they don't harm each other. Little man is reflecting on what a shame that is. That only the environment seems to be suffering the impact of their blows.
Kid puts him out of his misery.
Yeah, a little bit. Perhaps the kid needs to collect all the stuff before venturing forward. Because this stuff might just provide him with a little bit of extra help. And Lord knows the kid needs all the help he can get. It seems that rolling also inflicts a mild amount of damage upon things, which I'm sure little man might find very helpful if he utilized a little better. Of course, forging new paths might also help too. Not that it much matters at this point. After all, his path is already laid out.
Core to the Wharf District. He steals the city's heart. Might as well.
They've already stolen his blood.
Kid has a feeling he better get a move on. The place is starting to fall.
Yeah, he gets the feeling that this is going to be contrived. That's all right with him. That's just the way little man is expecting things to go by now.
What kid took was the only thing making this particular rock stay afloat.
That would seem to be the case, yeah.
Kid just keeps running.
Where he's gonna go is anyone's guess. But he will keep running until he reaches some kind of destination. That's just the way things work. He will learn the hard way just what happens when you steal a city's heart. And just what happens when the city tries to steal his.
At last, the skyway's in sight.
The kid waves goodbye to these fearsome foes as they fall into the abyss below.
Whistles him where it needs to go.
Customize or change control settings in the help and options menu.
Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive?
With all these floating platforms,
Sure enough, he finds another.
Somehow.
He finds me.
The narrator?
We talk for a spell.
So, ask about what happened to Nacy, the girl who used to pin her hair back with this. Is she here already? Where is everyone?
I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, alright. Except no one else showed up.
I see. Ask about the large bluish mineral found in the Wharf District. It feels warm to the touch and hums like a motor. What exactly does it do?
All I tell him is to set that core of his on the monument there. Then watch.
Little man's about to find out the hard way what happens. Ask about the seal representing the city of Salondia. Weren't those only meant to be for uniform identification?
There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest. Enough to point the way to the cores.
I see. Thank you, narrator. And Stanley moved onward.
And just like that, the Bastion comes alive.
Indeed.
Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown.
That it can. Little man's about to realize the hard way that creation is so much harder than destruction.
Kid ponders what to build.
Distillery. Arsenal. Plans a facility that stores weapons and secret skills, just need a place to build it. Enhance one's natural abilities, just need a place to build it. Let's go with the arsenal for now. Little man decided that weapons are pretty damn useful.
Place of peace, but we can hold our own if we have to.
Yeah. That's for sure. A secret technique that automatically counterblocks all incoming attacks for a short time. Made famous in a spectacular showing in the Bullhead Court. That sounds amazing. Yes, I love.
Kid can't handle with hammer and bow in hand.
And I love me some defensive action.
You don't know what's out there waiting for him.
But he will soon find out the hard way.
The Skyway. Now the kid can ride the wind to distant lands.
Indeed. The Workman Ward. Core detected. Find and bring it back. There may be useful supplies here as well. Yes. Breaker Barracks. Here the breakers once honed their skills. That's where I was. Little man realizes that all too clear. That he was once there. And now he's here. Drink spirits at the distillery to gain passive bonuses. Little man knows that all too well.
Now he lands at the intersection between bad and wrong.
What's the difference
between...
between...
core down one of these twisted streets. But which one?
Perhaps little man...
Up north is where the gas fella foreman used to live, tending to his flock.
Perhaps little man should try to check things out the hard way. Perhaps little man should use more defensive tactics. Not just swing around like an idiot. Little man might just be coming onto something. Ragged Hood.
Like gas fellas all dress alike. Kids wondering the same thing.
Perhaps he has a good reason to be thinking as such. Because there seems to be wisdom in those words.
And there it is. But it's locked down tight in an alloy cage.
Indeed. Little man's gonna have to find a way to breach that cage.
A blustery old foreman's keeping his fellas in check. Almost like he's showboating the crowd.
Dadgummit. Cover. Little man's gonna have to find out. Oh, jeez. Those men are not very gentle, are they? Little man's gonna have to find out. Little man's certainly gonna have to do something about those sneezing fits. They sure make commentary difficult. Little man find out the hard way that he's out of health potions, that he's gonna die.
Kid ain't about to pass out in the middle of the Workman Ward.
Kid's only got one chance left, though. If he blows this, he knows he's sunk.
There's a new marshal in town.
Oh, I see. Little man just had to beat the marshal. He didn't have to waste his time with all the others.
The whole place grown, but it's too tough to fall. Might as well check the other side streets before leaving this hole.
Who knows, little man might find something useful here. Little man's finding it difficult to hit and run. Because those enemies attack with a fervor, alright.
Keeps telling himself he better watch his step.
But he's not going to.
The biggest dump in town. Scumbag alley. Some scumbag still feeding off the city's own trash. And there he is. The oldest scumbag of them all. Gershel.
Little man keeps falling over as he keeps hitting the ground.
The calamity ain't done much for Gershel's sunny disposition.
Little man keeps getting knocked over the edge. Just like we're all on the edge of life.
They always said old Gershel wouldn't go without a fight.
Luckily, the fight is just what the little man was prepared to give. Unfortunately, the little man keeps getting stuck in places.
The rest of the path is gone for good. And his city crest won't bring it back.
Real shame for little man. Although he already found the core, so he kind of figured this would be the case. This was just a side quest for him anyway. Little man wasn't so much concerned with it. He knew that he had already achieved his goal. Besides, little man found something even better.
He heads for the squirt steps. Won't be no field trip this time.
He knew that all too well.
Scumbag can digest just about anything. Except for this. It's quick for slicing and light enough to throw.
Perhaps little man is starting to catch on to things. However, little man's finding out the hard way that this has some disadvantages compared to the hammer. But perhaps it is better for singular targets, which could be good for certain things.
They say even the most rambunctious squirts can be tamed.
That would seem to be the case. However, little man needs to find out where he's actually supposed to be going. Otherwise, he'll never...
Squirts just don't know when to quit. Squirts don't make the best of friends, but they can be useful at a pinch.
Yeah, perhaps they could.
He heads for the east side, where windbags used to keep the local forge.
Perhaps he will find something useful here.
Still standing.
Little man figured he might find something useful here, even though it's clear that he's not finding the core because he already found the core. He's just looking for anything useful. And doesn't want to live life with regrets. A lesson for all of us.
Inside the forge, he can fine-tune those instruments of his.
Seems to be the case. An upgrade material for the cowl hammer. A chunk of a precious alloy. Okay, select an upgrade. Plus 50% damage, plus 10% critical hit chance. No thank you.
Lifelong friends looking fit to keep on fighting.
Yeah. Plus 25% draw speed, 2 target penetrations per shot.
With a good length of meat-gut, that bow's like new again.
Yeah. Or machete. Perhaps little man should have been working on that because he forgot that he switched to it. Oh well, says little man. Easy come. Easy go.
Take it out right where he started.
Yeah. Luckily, squirts have proven very invaluable to little man. Build the forge in the Bastion to upgrade weapons.
He comes back, just like I knew he would. The core hums in his pack. The monument's calling for it. Kid does it again. Only fair he decides what we build next.
Yeah, makes sense. After all, little man is the one who puts in all the effort. Forge or distillery. Trains me to scavenge materials into weapon upgrades, just need a place to build it. The old forge for the Workman Ward was the model for many others. Perhaps little man wants to build the distillery this time.
Makes time to sample spirits from my personal supply.
Plus 33% while defending, spicy, nutty flavors and a dry aftertaste, very heavy and filling. 100% critical hit chance, active only when below 33% health. Plus 1 chance to carry on if defeated, damage surrounding foes if defeated. Aromatic beverage served piping hot. According to folk tales, it can almost wake the dead. Absorb stray fragments, or a plus 10% critical chance when on full health. Perhaps little man wants to have a second wind. Perhaps he could consider that quite useful.
Where whiskey has no scent, but tastes like a peppered boot heel, it's not for everyone.
That's for sure. Perhaps little man wants to switch back to the hammer, because the hammer is what he actually upgraded. Dance it shot. Perhaps little man wants the whirlwind back, because the whirlwind seems pretty damn helpful to him right now. And you gotta go with what's gonna be the most useful to your journey. Little man knew that all too well.
Picked up traces of other cores while the kid was out.
Little man actually has a choice this time. He can choose 2, and he has chosen the melting pot. Secret skills are powerful but require tonic to use.
In better days, the melting pot was sealed tighter than the skin on a squirt.
Unfortunately, things have changed.
Of all the plans to survive the calamity, it had to be stab weeds.
Little man's gonna find out the hard way what'll happen if he tries to touch those stab weeds. Something nasty.
Blasted things hurt like a broken heart.
Yeah. Luckily, his bow works true. Little man ought to take advantage of that to avoid taking personal damage. It'd be a real shame to get stabbed through the heart, he thought to himself, as he wandered.
If there's a core, he figures it ought to be deeper down.
Yeah, little man probably figured that would be the case.
Cuts down every stab weed like there's gonna be a prize for it. Core stuck inside one of those fancy cages.
Seems like that's the case. A trip
Some of
mine.
the stuff lying around is downright dangerous.
Someone ought to clean it up, thought the little man, who was swift to put it in his own inventory.
He throws a switch. Now what could possibly go wrong?
Little man was about to find out what could possibly go wrong.
Quite a bit, as it turns out. The cage starts lifting from the core ever so slow.
The
All
little
Kid
man,
can do is wait.
for some reason,
start falling in.
little man's about to find out the hard way just how tight this defense system is.
Not every score is born bad. Some spring to the kid's defense. Judging by the movement of the cage, it's gonna take a little while.
Little man was very grateful for those tiny squirts who would decide to join his side. And with his hammer true, he decided he needed to take matters into his own hands. However, little man not so good at dodging. He never was. He was always better.
Take kindly to interlopers.
Little man was always better at attacking than dodging. And that's what he would do.
Even some gas fellas take his corner. Birdie pop that beetle form.
Oh. Seems as though even executioners can become allied. Little man should
At
take...
this rate, maybe 5 more minutes. Maybe 30. Hard to tell.
All little man knows is that he's all out of time, unfortunately. So however long that cage takes to open up, Little man, we'll have to say that is it for now. Thank you so much.
Real territorial around the core.
Thank you so much for tuning in with me. Make sure to spread this video around like this beautiful narrator.
Samples shows up.
And little man, we'll see you next time. Now, y'all go out there and capitalize on life.
It ain't all bad, because the kid finds some spices from the motherland.
Peace out, have a good one. And have a nice and pleasant day.
That's for sure. That cage is awful heavy.
Yeah. Anyway, see you later, says the little man.
If you enjoyed the content and want to stay up to date, I upload 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. You can also subscribe and hit the bell icon, or just check out the end screens right here.